welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. So we're going to pick up reading from our devotion, Raised Devotionals by Ida Mae Couch. And today's title is Weights and Standards. So I am anxious to hear how God is going to minister to us. I know I personally need it. And I would like to thank all of y'all for your prayers, your encouragement. I hate to be so vague, but I'm in a process. I'm in a time that God is moving, and it's not always comfortable when you grow in the Lord. It can be very difficult. It can be painful. It can be just, you're unsure, but there's one thing I'm sure of. God is in complete control. And when the time is right, I will share and I will have a testimony. So thank y'all for praying for me and being concerned about me. I do truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And again, I'm not trying to be vague to, build curiosity, intrigue you, this and that. It's just, the time is not right to share, but when it is, I will. So let's see how God's going to minister to us today. The title is Weights and Standards. So let's just get started. When harvest time came for cotton, it was a busy time. All 5 of us would be out in the field, hand picking the cotton and filling our sacks. When the sack was full, it would be weighed. Dad would keep track of how much was picked so he would know about how much money he would get for the crop. I remember my dad hanging an empty sack from the cotton scale, and he would sit me in it like I was sitting in a swing to see how much I weighed. That was a fun time. Weights and measures have standards that were put in place in order to be fair in our trading. These are man-made standards that help us establish value. There are other standards that we use in our culture that are a bit more obscure, but they still have value and affect our perceptions. We measure someone's knowledge by grades and diplomas. We evaluate certain items by the materials from which they are made or the company that manufactured them. Some brands are better than others. Some schools are more rigorous than others. But it all boils down to man's idea of value. Man's ideas are just that, man's ideas. How God views you is the real standard. Let me read that again. How God views you is the real standard. It's easy to psych ourselves out and say, well, I'm not smart enough to do blank, or I'm not good enough to do blank. Whose measuring sticks are you using? If God has something to be accomplished, He will give you what you need to accomplish it. Woo, yes, Lord. Let me read that again. If God has something to be accomplished, He will give you what you need to accomplish it. It's not about what some diploma says or what your bank account has to offer. Amen. We all hold value in God's eyes. We are all precious to Him. And our scripture today comes from Luke chapter 12, verse 6 and 7. And this is in red. This is Jesus speaking. And He says, "Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 farthings, and not one of them is forgotten before God? But even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Fear not, therefore, ye are of more value than many sparrows." Do y'all understand? The very hairs of our head are numbered. And I'm going to tell you something. The Lord has to change that all the time for me, because I shed worse than Buster. He knows everything about us. And we are so precious and valuable to Him. And I don't know about you, but I've been in places and in situations and in circumstances where I didn't meet the qualifications per man's standard. I didn't look the part. I didn't act the part. I didn't fit in. The bank account certainly didn't match it. But God. How many of you can say that? I'm sure we all have stories and testimonies where we have been in situations where we didn't measure up to what man thought. People like to look down their noses at us. We don't fit in the certain social classes, whatever. None of that's important to me. But it's how God sees me that I focus on. Because at the end of the day, I've said it so much here lately, it seems like. I want to be pleasing to God. His opinion of me, what He thinks of me, how He sees me, is what I truly focus on and what matters most to me. You know, he sees us when we aren't acting a certain way because we're around other people. He sees us in our true form. He sees us when we are completely by ourselves. We let it all hang out, so to speak. He sees that. He sees everything. He knows everything about us. He knows the very intent of our heart. He knows that if we say the pretty words and this and that, but our heart does not match that, he knows that. We're not fooling him. And, you know, that was one thing that really had to I had to get to that place in my life because of the way I was raised and how I was taught and brought up and this and that. You know, around the right people, I knew what to say. I knew how to act. I knew how to dress. I knew how to look. I knew how to put on the show, okay? And that's what it was a show, because I was more worried about what they thought of me. And then it hit me, thank God for wisdom and maturity, right? It hit me, I can do that till the cows come home, as we say here in the South. But God knows the very intent of my heart. He knew all of that was fake. He knew I meant nothing. None of that. He knew I didn't live that way. He knew I didn't act that way in private. He knew the very intent of my heart. And when that finally one day clicked with me, I stopped. I stopped being what others thought I should be. I stopped living by how others thought I should live. And I started getting down to, God, how do you see me? What do you want in me? How do you want me to be, Lord? Because come that final judgment day when we are standing before him, his opinion and his thoughts are the only one that's going to matter. And I've told y'all time and time again, there are people that look at me like I'm just fixing to bust tail wide open the way I live my life because I don't fit their standard. I don't fit their mold. But I don't worry about that anymore. It's between them and God. I worry about when I lay my head down at night, when I get up every morning, when I go through my daily life. God, how do you see me? What am I doing that's not pleasing to you? Changing me the things that you don't like, that you don't want. Get rid of the stuff that is taking up space that you want to feel, Lord. That's where I'm at in my life. And when you reach that place in your relationship with the Lord, your whole perspective is going to change. And I find myself, I mean, you know, we like to say, you know, we don't judge, you know, judge not lest ye be judged, you know, the judging is for the Lord. But I mean, in all honesty, y'all know we judge. Y'all know we look at a book and we judge it by its cover. I do. I can't speak for y'all, but I do. I try not to be judgmental and let my thoughts, you know, decide a situation. But I've really got to the place where I'm really trying to, Lord, help me to see with eyes of love and compassion and understanding, not with eyes of judgment. Because I don't know what others have went through. I don't know where they're at in their walk with God. I don't know what they're going through. I don't know the battles they have fought, some won, some lost. I don't know what battles are ahead of them. I don't know everything about them, but God does. So who am I to cast judgment? Because I have been so judged all of my life, y'all. I mean, it's crazy, but all of my life I have been judged, some fairly and some very unjust. But again, you know, the Lord has helped me to not focus on that and just to focus on him. So that's where the, you know, get out of my heart and out of my mind and the beam out of my eye and put in me what you want me to have. Replace all the gunk that you get out with what you want me to have in my life. And help me to be the person you want me to be. And when you get to that place with the Lord, when you really get down to it and you get serious, there's gonna come trials. There's gonna be battles you're gonna be faced with. Because one thing, that's how you grow. That's how you grow your faith. That's how you grow your trust. It's like being on the potter's wheel. You know, it's uncomfortable. That's how we get rid of the things that we may want to hold on to. But God's like, no, it's holding you back. Get rid of it. And it's uncomfortable. It's painful. But it's all working for us and helping us. And there's so much to be learned in the battle. You learn how strong you really are. You learn how God is truly right there with you. You're not doing it by yourself, because we couldn't get through it if we were doing it by ourselves. Number one, we wouldn't even go through it if it was up to us. But because we allow the Lord to take us through these battles and to help us, we're growing so much in Him and with Him. And He's getting all the junk that's been holding us back, holding us down. He's getting it all out. And He's replacing it with the stuff that's going to excel us and help us. And it may not even be stuff that people can see. It may not even be stuff that you can even explain. But it will be what you need in your relationship with the Lord. That's what I'm learning. That's what I've been learning as I've been on this journey since about really on this particular journey with the Lord, getting to this place with the Lord. This started for me around 2017. And I've been through many trying times. There's been a lot of waiting. That's another thing. When you're in this with the Lord, there's going to be a lot of waiting. And for somebody like me who hates to wait, I've learned once I'm through it and it's over, how much I truly learned in the waiting. There's so much we are learning in the waiting. There's so much strength we're gathering in the waiting. And it's a beautiful thing. And so it does make it slightly easier when you have to go through another trial and there's waiting. It's like, okay, although I don't like to wait, although I want it, I don't want to be here, Lord, I do understand I'm gaining so much in this waiting. And so I'm going to try to embrace it and not dislike it so much. You know what I mean? So I hope this has encouraged you. It's definitely encouraged me to know that He loves us so much that the very hairs on our head are numbered. I don't know about you, but that just really resonates with me. And more so now, because I'm in a time of leaning on the Lord. I'm in a trial. I'm in a process. I'm in another growing spell. I'm on the potter's wheel again, That just means so much to me. And I know that He's got me. He's got you. If you're going through the same thing, and if you're not, I hope that you'll remember this when you do, because that's guaranteed. We're going to go through things. And when I get through this, and I will, and I'm going to be victorious, because God never loses. He always wins. Things might be good for a little while, and then there's going to come another time. And I'm going to draw strength from this time, just like while I'm in this season right now, this particular time, I'm looking back and I'm drawing strength from past times. So I'm going to get through this. You're going to get through it, and we're going to be the better for it. I love each and every one of you. I pray that you are blessed. I pray that you're drinking from your saucer, because the blessings are just overflowing from your cup. And I will see each and every one of y'all here in the next one. Bye, y'all.